Um, I did chapter 4, and the chapter is why is it so hard for students to understand abstract ideas. Um, I used the quote in the book, "We understand new things in the context of things we already know, and most of what we know is concrete." It's difficult for students to understand new ideas because new ideas aren't related to other things that students have previously learned. They take what's in their head and they apply it to new material, and that's how they remember it. So understanding is remembering in disguise. Students understand new ideas by relating them to things they have already learned, as I said. Analogies are very useful for students when they're learning new material because, like I mentioned, it helps them to remember what they just learned for later on and to tie that into something else they may learn. Understanding new ideas is just a matter of getting the right old ideas into working memory and then rearranging them. There are two issues with this that even when students understand, there are actually degrees of comprehension. One student's understanding can be shallow and another's can be deep. So one student doesn't understand as well as another will. And even vice versa on another subject, it may be. Even if students understand the material in the classroom, they might not use it outside the classroom. So I put in the quote, if you don't use it, you lose it, with many things. It's not always like riding a bike. Why is knowledge shallow? Memorization with no understanding. So, like, say for a test, students will study, 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 and they will know what answer goes to what, but that does not always mean that they understand why. They know the what's, but not the whys to it. So I took to the example, like in the book, compared to computers. Computers show to be intelligent because they have all this knowledge to it, but there is really no true understanding of what is beneath the surface. Use the example from the book for government. It said like trying to teach first or third grade government. They don't understand the concepts of it, but if you relate it to something they already know, such as classroom rules or rules at home, they can give you the gist of it. So you ask them to give you examples like, what are some classroom rules that we have, or what do you have to do at home? So it's the same thing as government making rules for the country. And that's how you can get them to remember that. Transferring of knowledge. Students have a tough time understanding knowledge because it is hard to comprehend two separate questions with different outcomes, even though they are the same type of problem. As I said in the book, for an example is math. Word problems are difficult. They require the same tools to use, the same steps, but it's hard to put two and two together when they're different wording, different numbers for different subjects, such as putting a shower into a bathroom or a kitchen sink into the counter. You go through the same steps, but you have different outcomes. Ideas on how to encourage the challenge of transfer. Provide examples and ask students to compare them in order to help student comprehension. Make deep knowledge the spoken and unspoken emphasis. Think about what kind of questions you ask them. Make your expectations for deep knowledge realistic. So don't try to aim high, aim low, and then work your way up from there so students don't feel so overwhelmed from digging deeper and using cognitive thinking. And so for the end of this one, I just encourage students to believe that they can do it. If at first you don't succeed, try, and then try again, because everybody fails at something. Like, nobody gets it perfect the first time. So in order to truly understand, you have to practice, practice, practice.